Hi guys, it's Victoria again with HWF. We're here at East Terrace on MLK Boulevard. We're here at the Mann House, which was built originally in 1872. We're starting here outside because this house is super unique. This is a style that we normally don't see down here in the South. This is what we call an Italianate villa or Italianate architecture. The tower here, what we call a cupola, is really the standard feature of that. And so this is a house that's very, very unique to the north, mostly because Mr. Mann's wife Samira was born in New York, and so he built this house for her. So a style she would recognize on the river and a setting she would also feel comfortable in. So come on in. Step into the office for just a second. The reason I want to step here into the office is to note the color on the walls. So in most of our houses we see a lot of white walls, a lot of white surfaces, and that's actually something we did in the 1960s, 70s, and a little in the 80s when restoration was going on. At the time they thought that classicism meant that everything was white, and so they painted everything in that style. But in reality, the Victorians loved color, and each of their rooms would have been a different color, much like the one we see on the walls. The one that we see here in Mr. Mann's office, we actually dug down through the paint samples to find this color. So the color that we see here is the closest to the original color as we could get. Victorians loved color, and so it's not a surprise that his office would be this blue. We just came from Mr. Mann's office here into the parlor. During the time that the family was living just in this portion of the house, it also would have been used as a dining room. But here in the corner we have Mrs. Mann's writing desk. Mrs. Mann would have written a considerable amount of correspondence as a lady of upper class stature, and so this writing desk is in the Eastlake style, and it also has Japanese style carvings. The reason that it has Japanese style carvings and a Japanese style bamboo chair is because the Victorians were the first generation of Americans to have this influx of Japanese culture. The borders of Japan were closed until 1864 with the Treaty of Kanagawa, and so for the first time, Americans were getting this influx of Japanese culture, and if you could own pieces like Mrs. Mann's desk, it showed that you were worldly and cultured, and it also showed that you had the money to be able to import those items into your home. So it was a real class stature to have these type of items here. We have Mrs. Mann's original chair and the bamboo rocker over here in the parlor as well. That belonged to the Mann family here in the house.